is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Country Boys RC, and today we've got the big 1/8 scale Team Associated RC8 up on the workbench. As promised, it is Monday night, and I figured I would go ahead and get this review done for you guys on both the buggy and on the Turnigy 5000mah 4S lipos that I have. We'll just go ahead and start with the lipo because it's smaller. I don't have to move the camera off to get to it. This battery here, hard case pack. Turnigy lipos, what I've seen, they don't have a set C rating for their discharge. This one here is a 20 to 30 C discharge rating. So you get anywhere from 100 amps to 150 amps on this battery. The castle system that I have in this buggy here, if I'm not mistaken, it requires at least 100 amps. It may be 90. I'll have to check on that. 14.8 volts. Dean's plug did not come installed on it. It come with the banana plug or the EC3 plug that comes with some cars now. The pack, good runtime out of it. I get normally 15 to 20 minutes of runtime out of this pack using it in this big 8 scale buggy. I've got another one in the house. I just had this one out here in the shop so I could do a review on it for you guys. These batteries retail on Hobby King and other websites for $35 to, well, in the $40 range. It's not a Roar approved battery pack. Kind of sucks. If you want to run a Roar race where they require that, you'll have to go drop more money to get a Venom or another brand that is a Roar approved. The pack here, it's been through some wrecks in the buggy. It's tumbled. I haven't had any issues with it, you know, having issues charging or anything after the wrecks. Plus, I make sure my batteries are strapped down really good inside the buggies. Charge time on this, I try to charge it. Yes, it's a 5000 milliamp. It's only supposed to charge it at 5 amps. My little Venom Pro 2 charger I have, I charge all my 4S packs at 6 amps. From the LiPo cutoff to full charge, it's roughly 79 to 80 minutes of charging time. Try to take care of these batteries the best I can. This is the biggest battery that I have. I've got a couple 2S packs I used to run in my B4 and my SC10. My wife runs them in her SC10. And I also run lipos in the Beast that I've got sitting back here in the background. So I try to take care of all my batteries. I keep them stored in a container just for safety precautions. But for what I paid for this battery, I would definitely recommend it. It's a good 4S pack. The only recommendation I have is when you buy this, somewhere or another, take a piece of shrink wrap and shrink wrap all of these wires, because as you can see, they're fairly loose and you don't want to rip a balance plug out. So there's that. Now on to the RC8. Like I said last week, guys, this is the Factory Team Edition. It's the kit version. So you have to build it, install all your own electronics in it. You have to put your own tires. It does come with just the wheels. It comes also with the shock oil and diff oil when you build it. I did not build this kit. I purchased it secondhand from a friend of mine. He recently picked up a Mugen MBX7R Eco, and he wanted to sell this one, so I gave him about $425 for it, I think it was. brought it home, 4S pack, installed my FlySky receiver into it so I can run it on the GT3C, and away we went with it. Go ahead and pop the body off. This is not the original kit body that come with it. This is a J-Concepts Illusion finisher body. Most of the bodies that I have with it, other than 2, are J-Concepts finishers. The other 2 are Proline Bulldog bodies. Not really impressed with the Bulldog bodies. They seem to crack. The Lexan doesn't seem to be as thick on the bodies. Another thing with the J-Concepts ones, this body here has actually gone off of an 18-foot high wall turn, and it did not crack the body except here at the rear tire, where the on the rear end come down really hard off of that, and that's all that broke on it. So I'm really impressed with how durable these J-Concepts bodies are. No, I'm not a J-Concepts sponsored driver, so they don't pay me to say that. That's just my personal opinion. But on to the buggy now. It's kind of dirty underneath because I've got to get it cleaned up. As you can see, all that bright blue aluminum that is on this buggy, those are all specific to the Factory Team kit version. The RTR Race Spec version comes with plastic, let's see if we can get this turned up here, plastic chassis braces, front and rear. You've got a plastic center diff housing cover on the RTR version. This is actually aluminum. The motor plate on it, let's see if I can get that there, is a sliding 2-piece. The RTR version is a solid 1-piece with where you actually, all you do to adjust the mesh is you move the screws on the motor. This one here, it's got 2 screws, one on the top and one on the side here. Loosen those up and you adjust your gear mesh. Very easy to adjust on this. On the RTR version, I think the front steering plate here is also plastic. I may be wrong. So on that is all of the differences between the RTR and the kit version. Other than, of course, your radio system and your brushless, your motor and ESC. It comes with a Reedy 8-scale system, an XP ESC and servo, and you also get the XP radio system with it. The electronics I have in this, I'll actually go ahead and pull the camera off the stand over here, bring it over, and I'll show you guys on the table here. So let's see if we can get you off the stand. There we go. Alright guys, as we can see, I've got a Castle 8-scale ESC with the built-in cooling fan. It did have the big Castle 8-scale motor with it, but one of the bearings went out in it, so now I'm running the Tekin T8 system. This is a 1900 kV censored motor. It's got the sensor port, if we can get it right back here on the back of the motor. ESC is sensorless, so for right now I'm having to run it in sensorless mode. Servo on this is a Savox 1258 titanium gear servo. And like I said earlier, inside the radio box here, I've got the FlySky radio system that I run on my other vehicles. 16mm big bore shocks, aluminum hubs on all 4 corners. It actually has, get out the light here so you guys can see it, the front caster blocks here. These are actually an upgrade from the kit version ones. These are actually 16-degree caster blocks. The kit version, if I'm not mistaken, are plastic caster blocks. These are actually aluminum, so there's a little bit more strength. All of your drive shafts are CVDs, and the front and center, or the front and rear drive shafts are CVD. You have sway bars front and rear, numerous adjustments on it via these blue aluminum plates. You've got 2 in the front, 1 here, and 1 to the rear of the front diff. And similar on the rear, you've got 1 to the front of the rear diff and 1 on the very back. And each of those plates does different adjustments. So you just have to change the little peels, which I don't have any out here. They're actually in the house in my track bag. And that would adjust anything from your front kick up, your front caster, rear toe, and that's about it on those peel adjustments. Oil filled diffs, rear, center, and front. Right now I am running, I believe, a 20-tooth pinion with a 50-tooth spur gear. Really good speed. I need to change that up for the local race this weekend at Lake Hartwell. Right now I've got 45 weight oil in the rear and 40 weight in the front. I need to actually tear this car completely down and get it rebuilt for this weekend. So let's go ahead and get you guys back up on the tripod over here. There we go. Now we got y'all back on the tripod. Other upgrades I didn't show you when I had the camera down here. Carbon fiber rear shock tower from, I believe he said, J Concepts. Rear shock tower. Avid Racing front shock tower. If you can look up and find an Avid front and rear shock tower, you have something there, because the rear shock towers for this buggy are near impossible to find. Wheels and tires I've got on this right now. The wheels are, if I'm not mistaken, Proline, or they may be J Concepts yellow wheels. Tires I have are J Concepts Reflexes in the black compound. Another thing that I prefer over Proline in the 8 scale is the J Concepts tires. The wear seems to be a little bit longer on them, and the tread patterns are a little bit more forgiving. You don't have as much of a issue with pins breaking off on some of the J Concepts tires as you do with some of the Prolines that I noticed in the 10th scale. 8 scale, just, you know, I'm bringing that knowledge from 10th scale up into the 8 scale. So that's why I only run J Concepts. Now I do have one set of Prolines. They're square fuzzies. Picked them up for Wicked Weekend a couple months back. Run them around there. They hooked up really good. But it seemed to be the preferred track tire was a J Concepts tire, and that is what I chose to run, and that's what I've still chosen to run. Wing adjustment, you do have some adjustment on the wing. Overall, I'm really impressed with this car. Would I recommend it to someone? Yes, I would, just because this car is durable. Now, I've driven a Mugen, and I've also drove a Losi. The Mugens have all the new updated technology with the front pillow ball suspension. You know, a little bit thicker plastics on their suspension arms. You know, a little bit more tuning than this, but for someone who's looking to get into 8 scale fairly cheap, you can go pick up one of these, eBay, Craigslist, local hobby shop, someone's selling them for, you know, $350 to $450 ready to go. Just add your own radio system. But guys, I love this buggy. Got a big race coming up at Lake Hartwell RC on Saturday the 5th. I will be taking my camera down there trying to get some footage of the new track layout and of this buggy running for you guys. So make sure you check out the Facebook page for updates, because I will have some pictures posted from the track while I'm down there that day. If you haven't already, go ahead and click on the like button, subscribe, and we will see you guys on the next one. Hope you enjoyed it.